Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
All right, let's do some outdoor chats with our buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, who is joining us here this morning. Jake, how you doing, bud?
Good. Beautiful Thursday morning per usual, so no complaints. How about yourself?
Not bad, man. I'm keeping a little weather aware because we got some baseball and such, but I know we need it. We need that rain, too, because we had some wildfires going on here, not only in the state. Was it Juneau County? Was that 80-acre one down south?
Yeah, so a lot of wildfires. Even if we don't hear about them, there's a lot of forestry staff that are always putting out these fires each day, so it's really important to follow those burn requirements or no burn procedures, stuff like that. I actually ran down and worked that Toma one on Monday night.
So with that too, it's probably a good reminder to check, Jake, banning burns or banning of permits and statuses and that, because I got to imagine, last weekend too, I saw, especially in the news, where you had some like fire danger alerts and super high fire danger alerts.
Yeah, no, there's been like red flag warnings. A lot of our, I think most of our phones are, if you have like the weather channel and stuff, it tells us. So if you see those alerts, if you see the smoky sign with high fire dangers and stuff, just play it safe and don't burn.
Yeah, definitely. So, should we get to some questions from some listeners here, Jake? So this one was actually from a couple weeks ago, so I apologize if that listener's still listening, and I'm not ignoring you. That was my fault. I forgot to ask Jake last time you were on here. But we had a texter that asked, are there any steps being done to ban the LiveScope? First of all, can you maybe explain, because it's for a fishing thing, explain maybe to listeners what the LiveScope is before answering that question? Yeah,
so LiveScope is basically like a forward-facing sonar. So we're all familiar with like ice fishing machines where you can kind of look down and catch fish using your Garmin's and whatnot. But the LiveScope LiveScope's just a brand. It's more called forward-facing sonar, and it kind of shows you fish that are further around the boat, or you can kind of pinpoint where fish are under the water. The whole reason there's some hubbub about it is because a couple years ago, it was like a spring hearing question about banning it. And the short answer when it comes to LiveScope and different forward-facing sonars is that the DNR doesn't necessarily regulate equipment. The DNR, especially the fishery staff, they use science and their biology and their netting and trapping and all the kind of statistics to create bag limits and possession limits that protect the species. So the DNR is not usually in the world of restricting gear. There's obviously some laws and some regulations, but as far as that I'm aware of, there's no discussion on any sort of forward-facing laws from the DNR specifically, because we manage those through daily bags and possessions, like I mentioned, size restrictions, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Another question. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that doesn't mean that you won't see discussion on it, online, or you might hear different legislators talk about creating bills to ban it or to enhance it, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to the DNR, we don't generally get involved in that type of regulation development.
Gotcha. Good point. Another question. This was from John a little bit earlier. I got a question for Jake. A couple weeks ago, somebody hit a deer, and it was laying at the end of my driveway. Is there somebody that I call to come and take care of that deer?
So sometimes there's someone that you can call and take care of it. So the DNR doesn't have like a deer pickup program or anything like that. When a deer dies on somebody's property, basically it's up to them to do whatever they want with it. It's nature. It's just like if a bird dies or a mole dies or whatever, if something's dead on your property as a private landowner, it's kind of your responsibility to clean it up. Whether it's just to leave it there, bury it in the woods, bring it to a dumpster, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's usually the landowner that needs to take care of it. Some cities, like the city of Eau Claire, they do have programs where if you call and report that there's a dead deer and drag it to the curb, they'll come pick it up.
Okay.
I know some townships might do that. I know the city of Eau Claire does it. You just have to call and report it to them and drag it out to the street, so it's easy for them to get it. So if you do have one, I would just call whatever your local municipality is. You know, if you live in, say, the town of Washington, call the township. If you live in the city or if you live way out in the county somewhere, try to figure out if they have a local program to pick it up. But the state won't come and pick it up.
So would it still, because I know we've talked a lot about this with roadkill, Jake, and, you know, whether you want to make, like, the antlers and such, even if it's on your property, would those other rules that we've talked about before where you still got to call the DNR still be in play?
Yeah, so, say a deer, if a deer gets hit next to your property, it's still a car-killed deer, so you can take that for free. You just have to call in and register it. If it's there's obviously no deer with antlers now, so let's say it's the fall and a deer shows up dead in your yard. If you don't know how it died or who shot it or anything like that, but you want to keep the deer, you want to salvage the meat, or you want to keep the antlers, then you have to call the DNR or call a game warden, and we'll get you a tag for it. We have to legally sell it back, but we generally sell it back as cheap as we can, which is like $10 or so.
Okay.
If we can salvage that deer and put it to good use.
Gotcha. All right. Hey,
Yeah.
I know fishing season's well underway here, and I know, just for some dates and such, next weekend it's the Muskie Northern Zone opens up and such. But from your side of things, how has the fishing season been going from your side of the desk?
It seems like it's going pretty good. I mean, anytime I'm out there, I always talk to some people that say the fish aren't biting, and they have no fish, and then I run into another boat where they're doing pretty good. So sometimes it's just the spot on the lake or the equipment you're using, but overall I'd say most people are going out, they're catching some fish, they're having a good time. So definitely, I would say good, at least from what I'm seeing, a good start to the fishing season.
I think I've asked you this before, but I was just popped up on my feed again the other day, and since we're talking about fishing, is it legal to bow fish in Wisconsin, Jake?
It is legal to bow fish, but it's certain species like rough fish, and then certain areas allow it. Some spots, some communities don't allow it based off ordinances and such. So the best thing to do, again, here's my regulation speech of the Thursday, is just make sure to there's a separate regulations than just our fishing one. There's one that's called like spearing, netting, and baiting or something like that. And you can look in there, and it talks a lot about bow fishing and stuff like that. But it's definitely allowed. People do it, for carp and different things. It's just there's some spots, and you can't do it for like game fish and different things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, and then I know spring turkey hunting is starting to wrap up here. Just a couple more weeks here, but maybe the weather with the cold front moving on. Maybe if you got a tag for this upcoming weekend, maybe a little bit better, possibly.
Yeah, I would definitely say I've been out recently, and they're still out and moving. I actually just, as we're talking, I see two of them all fanned up out in the field here. So,
well, tell me where, because I got a tag for this weekend, Jake. So I got to go get one there.
Go somewhere north of Cadott, and you'll find them.
Perfect.
So,
all right.
No, I was driving up from the academy earlier this week on 94, and it seems like all the way from Toma to Eau Claire at dusk, it seemed like every field. I know that's an over-exaggeration, but it seemed like almost every field had turkeys in it. So they're still out there. They're still moving. They're still grooving. Yeah, you're right. We still got about 2 weeks here, and there's opportunities if you want them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So is that kind of, what you're focusing on right now in your world is, the opener of fishing is underway and just kind of wrapping up the turkey season here? Yeah,
kind of wrapping up the turkey season. Still checking guys out on that, doing any follow-up complaints that come with that. Fishing is big. This weekend, actually, well, maybe not even this weekend. What's the date today? Today, a lot of the ATV trails actually open. So
okay.
Today, Eau Claire, Clark, and Jackson for sure are open May 15th. So that's going to generate some more work for us and kind of transition to our summer patrolling with a bunch of bunch of trail openings and campgrounds starting to fill up and stuff like that.
So a good reminder, make sure those registrations are up to date for your ATVs.
Registration's up to date, and everyone under 18 wearing a helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
So, big deals.
Well, Jake, we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Thanks for answering our listener questions. Be safe. Yeah. Enjoy the weather for a little bit here, and hopefully the rain can kind of tone down some of these wildfires that we're having too. So
right, we just need a good soaker.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it might be severe, but let's just hope for a good soaker rain tonight, and then it'll cool down, and we'll see how the rest of May goes here.
Absolutely.
But, no, I appreciate you having me on. It's always a good way to start my Thursdays.
Well, we'll catch up with you before, believe it or not, Memorial Day weekend already coming up here. So I know it's going to be a big one for a lot of people. So, all right, bud, we'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Yep, talk to you later.